One of the theories that's talked about often inside of development and the measurement of development is called the modernization theory, and it's what it sounds like. The more modern the country, the more advanced it is. It's one of the oldest theories, but it's based on the idea that all of the Western nations are more industrialized and therefore more modern, which would make it more developed. And a couple examples would be the UK, Germany, and then the United States. This is a way for countries to gauge their modernization situation and development. And this modernization theory, though, is used a lot from other countries who are still developing or undeveloped by imitating what this industrial or Western nation does. The government follows rules and they have a lot of policies on infrastructure and new industry and then subsidies, which is an interesting term that you'll talk about. But a subsidy is a government almost loan or a bond or a when they give an industry money, that way that industry can invest and they can grow. This can lead to a city bias or a big city bias with agricultural production being made as cheap as possible. But in the city bias, it means the more cities in industry, the more successful you are. This is a chart that measures the development as far as the modernization theory goes, and it goes from the left side, the traditional society, up to the high mass consumption. You can see that arrow, that red arrow, leading in the up direction. So on the right-hand side, when you see the 1 through 5, 1, the traditional society is at the bottom, so it kind of flip-flops on that side. The traditional society is agricultural-based, low technology, low economics. The next situation after that, the preconditions of a takeoff, would be that the society and the government has started to introduce some form of money and some sort of banking into their economy. The third section, which would be the takeoff into a developed nation, is that the governments and societies encourage economic growth, usually in the form of capitalism. Number 4, the drive to maturity, almost at the top. This is when the economy begins to diversify and they produce different goods in an increasing variety of goods. Your standards are rising and the standard of living is going up. And then once you reach the top, that high mass consumption, that means that your society is wealthy in that the consumption of the consumers, who's us, the people, is high, and people consume a lot and they buy a lot of goods. And once you get to that point, then that's considered a high mass consumption society.